welcome to Through the Glass.
Thank you.
Jason.
It's good to be here, man.
Welcome to Through the Glass, everybody. Sure, we're here again. And I have Jay today. And yeah, I want him to say his name.
Well, my name is Jason.
Say your name, say your name. do you know that song? Say my name, say my name.
By Beyonce.
No. Yes, that's but she's in it.
Yeah, she was always the Beyonce of the group.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, so how are you doing?
I'm good. And you, Ma?
Okay. Jason calls me Ma. I am Lady Mpho.
Oh, my bad.
So Jason is a son to me, and that is why he calls me Ma. Yeah. So please don't be alarmed by Jason calling me Ma. All right.
Yes, just a little nervous, but we'll get through it.
Okay. No, awesome. It's not hectic.
Yeah.
But firstly, I'd like our people to remember to share our shows and to continue with comments and everything that comes with being a subscriber, man.
Please and thank you.
So I wanted to talk to you about about a time in your life.
Yeah.
And we've spoken about it before, maybe one too many times even.
True.
That I think I got excited when you finally got healed and you're not afraid to talk about it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what is that time?
I'd say it was, well, chronologically it was like 2 years ago. 3 years ago, where I was dealing with depression. So
it's actually more, Jay.
It's not, is it?
Yeah, you're not counting. We lost time with COVID, ne?
Yeah.
So but it was just before COVID.
Yeah. Oh, you're right.
Yeah,
you're so right.
We've lost time with COVID. So every person, when I ask how long something, and they're like, you're not counting COVID clearly. Yeah.
So it was pre-COVID. So it was like 2019.
Yeah.
Into 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it started in 2018.
I think it was before that.
Even before that.
Like late high school. So it was like 2016.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So from 2016 to about, I'd say, 2021. That was when I started stepping out of it.
Awesome.
Yeah,
awesome.
It was a good few years.
Yeah.
A good few years.
Sure. What happened?
Well, I'd say the easiest way to tell the story without jumping around too much is it's a combination of things, basically, like hardships, stress of finishing school, starting varsity, relationship with parents, and then also the normal stuff that you do as teenagers, like you go out and stuff. So that's all of that comes together, and I guess it just all didn't mesh well.
Okay.
And also when it comes down to when you think about what you do in those times, it's more a very dark time for most people.
Sure.
So for me it was quite a dark time, especially in COVID. Because you're basically isolated. There was nothing, you couldn't run anywhere.
Yeah.
Because you were told you have to stay at home. And at the end of it, you kind of just end up going deeper and deeper and deeper.
Sure. Am I correct by thinking that COVID made your situation worse?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Just when you were about to go out of that situation, COVID hit, and then, oh my goodness, we are at this again. Okay?
Sure. Because basically what would happen is, for me, in that point of time, like it had gotten past the point of telling parents and trying to find a solution, because at that point it was like, I had said it, right, but I don't think people understand you when you say certain things, like when you say...
What did you say exactly to them that you think maybe they didn't?
I think I have depression.
Okay.
quite literally, because I had gone to see the psychologist at school, right? Because I was in varsity, and they hinted at it because apparently you're not allowed to tell someone that I think you have. But in so many words, they would hint that that's probably, so go and see a psychiatrist so you can get the confirmation. So at the end of it, it's like you can get a bit of help, but not really because you don't have the money, you know. So it was kind of one of those things. And now when you take it back home to parents, they're more worried about what you should be doing than what you're currently going through. And they're like, of course, in life continues to move. But when you're in depression, it kind of stands still for you.
Sure.
And you expect the rest of the world to stop with you. But that's not really how it works. And then you kind of get more frustrated by that cycle. And some people out through suicide, others basically just bum it out. You know, like they stop doing things. You stop going to school, you stop working, you now live with somebody, you know, you go and live with family, and you just become that person in the house.
And would you say you kind of stop in your mind, you stop existing?
Yeah, more or less, because you get to a point, like for example, before COVID, right? I used to drive myself to do something that's more than just a thought or a feeling to me. Like I had to find a cause to get me out the house, you know, to go and interview people. That's when I started my first company, Ambush. So it's because I felt like I had the ability to understand other people's hardships and then find a way to help them work brick by brick to build whatever they wanted. But I couldn't do that for myself, which was kind of weird, you know what I mean? So it kind of was an escape for me, you understand? So it gave me a reason to leave the house legitimately, to go and see people, interview people, you know, speak with them, see how they feel about music and everything. Because I also realized a lot of artists fall down the same path, right? So I was like, okay, what can I do to stop people from going through what I'm going through, you know, without solving the problem though?
Wow. Yeah, because I'm thinking here, here you are feeling the way you're feeling. You're describing it as how much of a trap it may have felt like, you know. And you've gone to see a school psychologist, and they told you what they told you, and then you walked out of that situation kind of with, I kind of need to do something. I'm learning that I need to get out of the house because you've stopped doing things.
True.
So now you got yourself into a space where you say, I need to get out of the house. Oh, okay, I need to help other people who are feeling probably here, right?
Yeah.
And in you doing that, you still came back home and felt what? Did you feel fulfilled, or you were coming back home to this feeling?
I think it's kind of like a double-edged sword in the sense that you feel accomplished because you've gone and spoken to people and interacted and then found how to help them. But you go back home to the same sadness. You understand? So like it kind of continues to build on your side, and then other people kind of move forward, you know, and then you're just stuck in that position because if you think about it, every day I'm out helping other people, as I would think, and none of that comes back for me. You know?
It doesn't bounce back.
Literally. Literally.
I guess it's that's the complexity of depression. Where you kind of wire yourself in, I'm gonna do something because I'll probably find fulfillment in doing this, and then I'll probably dig myself out of this hole. Actually, then what happens is after you've done that, at the end of the day, you come back and wait, that sadness is still here.
Exactly.
So it's actually not working the way you thought it would work. Okay. Sure. Now, what would you do, or how would you then feel when you realize that, hey, this sadness it's here, like this monster is here still?
I think it also, like, how do I say it? Like, I think I'm one of the better ones because I just used to write. You know, I used to write a lot. And so at some point, what I wrote got me in trouble because people would think I'm talking about them. But I was just saying how I feel.
Right.
You know, like I'm telling my story, and if you're in my story, I'm not gonna name you. But if you read, you're gonna know it's you. You know what I mean?
Right.
And past that, it was just kind of also very. It was very interesting because you find yourself in a position where you basically would try and find a reliable outlet for what you feel, but nothing would work per se, because you think the solution to the problem is in expressing how you feel, right? But it's not in that, it's in fixing those problems, and that needs self-work. You know, you need to sit down with someone who's on the other side, who's in a perfectly good spot in terms of they're not depressed, or if they have been, they're out of it, you know, and have those conversations. And I think that's the killer with depression, is people struggle to get the right support in time. You know, before it's affected you, before you're out of school, you dropped out, now you can't go back because you've been failed in all your subjects, or now you owe the school for a year that you didn't attend, you know. Others lose their jobs, and for some people, like I knew a few people who would do other stuff, like they would cut themselves. Others used to overeat, like they just eat, you know.
So that finding an outlet, these outlets can be anything.
Literally.
Literally.
And that's why it's so important to cap it to certain things, because people down the road, you end up doing crazy things, you know. And that's why most people say, if you're not doing anything in life, do a sport, do something active, because that will basically fill you, it'll give you interaction with people, and then past that you kind of get to use your energy, you know, so that you can sleep at night, because that's another thing that happens. You can't sleep. Well, I think I experienced it that way also, because I've never been a sleeper per se. Like if something happens, I'm not the kind of person to say, "Ish, let me go and take a nap," or they say, "Oh, it's bedtime, go and sleep," and I'm gone. Like I always have another reason, like I want to do this or that. But in that time, even being productive was difficult, you know, because you don't feel like doing anything, you know, and eventually you get to a point where you realize, like, I don't feel like doing anything ever, you know. So for you to communicate that with someone else who doesn't understand what you're saying, and they just know routine, they suggest a routine, but it becomes monotonous for you, because I do this every day, you know. It's no longer a thing of I want to wake up and go and make my bed and then go and play with my siblings or whatever. It was just I'm awake again. You know, and you're like,
I laugh at you saying, oh, I'm awake again, because the opposite of that is actually, I'm finally not awake. And why would that be exciting?
I think it's because the way I felt in that time was like, this is just a continuous cycle, and the sooner it ends, the sooner I get to not be here doing this over and over again. You know, which is kind of scary when you think about it. You know.
So I can't say I've had I don't know. So wait. When we speak of depression, it's supposed to be a feeling of feeling nothing and feeling in a dark hole and whatever for a period of time. You know, psychologists and psychiatrists will tell you it must feel like that for 3 months consecutively. Then we name it that. So I haven't had a feeling like that lasts that long. Not to say I haven't had it at all, but it hasn't lasted that long. So by virtue of that, I guess I haven't been clinically depressed. But I know those moments, right? So I'm trying to get to a point where I want to say how that state, the state of depression, is actually something that is very complex. So much that it's just a bunch of us who completely get it, completely understand it. And with that said, I don't think that many of us are willing to even talk about it and yet we do have dark days.
Yeah.
I think we all do have dark days.
Yeah.
It just depends on how do you deal with your dark moments.
True.
You know, a moment where you're like, I really don't feel like doing anything. But wait, if I don't feel like doing anything,
yeah,
what must then happen? Nothing must happen.
Exactly.
Am I saying, yeah, I want to just cut this and leave? You know, and what am I saying? So I would say, Mina, for anybody on whatever day that you get that feeling, challenge yourself. Say, I really don't feel like doing. Okay, no, great. I don't feel like. But wait, what must then happen because I'm still alive?
True.
And by me being alive, life demands my participation.
Exactly.
I cannot not bath. And when you're in that stage, you don't feel like bathing. Like what's the point?
Where am I going?
I'm going nowhere. Why would I bath?
Yep.
You know, I don't want to make up this bed, and so everything that you don't want to do is actually kind of designed to swallow you.
Yeah.
It's the feeling that makes you be so willing to be swallowed.
Yeah.
You actually want to be swallowed. You wouldn't mind to be.
It would be great.
Yeah, like wow, I really wish, and you will tell us what, as a person that would been there, you will say, for anybody who gets attacked in their minds, because I think depression happens in your mind.
True.
Right? So when you notice that you have many of these moments where you're feeling off, like everything is just off for you, in that space, challenge yourself on, okay, wait, if I feel like this, how is my life supposed to turn out?
Yeah.
You know, speak, continue to speak. Don't be quiet.
Yeah.
Because it's in your quiet moments where your mind will speak louder.
Exactly.
And whatever your mind tells you and feeds this body, that's what's going to happen now.
Exactly.
You know.
Exactly.
So you know how we are mind, body, and soul.
Yes.
When your mind is attacking, you still have two. Use these two. That's what my advice would be. Get your soul then to speak back.
Yeah.
And challenge the mind. And then the body is gonna actually go with the right one.
Exactly.
I think that's how it would.
Because when you said that mind, body, and soul, I just remembered at the time that I was at the peak of my depression, I didn't really have a good relationship with God. So for me, my Christian journey had started. It started when I was a child because I was raised in the church. We've always been going to church.
Right.
But you know that thing they keep telling you in church where you can go to church and not be a Christian, right? I can go sing the same hymns, speak to the people, but I wasn't actively engaging with God, you know, and I think that also helped me fall deeper into that hole because all I had was mind, body, and spirit, but spirit wasn't being fed anything positive because it wasn't a positive engagement, right? And I didn't put in the effort as well. Then when you look at mind, it's just full of pressure from school, parents, you know, I must do this, I want that in life, and half the time you're not getting that as a child because like you're under your parents, so you must still finish that part of your life and then go on. In terms of body, I was a very active person, like I'd run kilometers, but
you played soccer,
you know, but at some point, like when the soccer stopped, I had to find something to do, which was now running. But now I had also to stop running because now it wasn't that safe to do that anymore.
Okay.
You know, so when you lose your initial things that you enjoy, you know, it kind of puts you further down. So I guess coming out of it, looking back, I'd say what you said about that quiet time and kind of understanding that the voice in your head is sometimes not just you. Like there's a neighbor in there, you know? And that neighbor's, I think it was in a book I read, I forgot what the title was, but it's one of those like self-help books that kind of bring you to the idea that there's you and then there's your mind, you know. And I'm quoting very loosely.
Yeah.
That basically when you're at the peak, when you're in depression, there's a voice that agrees with everything that you say, right? So you don't want to get out of bed. Yeah, you don't have to. You don't have to. Where you going?
Going anyway?
Who's waiting for you? No one, right? Yeah, just chill in your room, man. You want food? Go get food. Come back. You know, and it doesn't push you to do better because it has no need to do better. You know, at that point. And when you kind of realize at some point that okay, I'm the driver, and I need to move past this and kind of start moving forward. It's easier to do when you have somebody that you can offload to, but he can also tell you the truth about what you're saying without being aggressive about it, you know. And I guess that's why I said finding the right support is very important, because I'll tell you half the time it's not going to be your parents, you know, because I imagine telling my dad half the things I spoke to you about, and I was like, I can't tell him these things because some of them are about him, you know what I mean? And the advice that you get back is also very important, because you take that and keep it close to your heart, because you feel like this is actual help, you know. So if you're getting the wrong advice, you can easily be manipulated into an array of things, you know. So my 2 cents would be in this part of the conversation would be like, you need to realize the fact that like no one's gonna wait for you. One, not the world, not your friends, they won't stop their lives, but they will check in on you and make sure you're fine, but they can't now make their lives about you. One. Two would be, it's more self-work than anything else, meaning you need to coach yourself to think differently, you need to move differently. And I think one of the biggest catalysts in helping me move differently was actually accepting my beliefs. And starting at the bottom. I know nothing, and I'm going to be a baby Christian. Start there, and then we move forward slowly, you know. And in that progression, you learn where to build your foundation, and you also learn how to kind of deal with a few things. Not that you go and now start reading the Bible and gain instant wisdom, but you see the people that follow this religion that you're into, and you see how their relationship with God has taken them out of so many bad situations. And from there you kind of say, okay, it's either I keep going down this road or I try this out. You know, and I was like, let me try this out. And like 3 years later, I'm still, I'm deeper than I was before. And so much so to a point like, I really don't go that far back anymore. Not to say that there are no dark days, but they don't last 2 years. You know what I'm saying?
So wait, when you say you are deeper, explain that deeper, because somebody else would be like, wait, are you saying you are more depressed now?
Oh, no. So basically with the mind, body and soul, right? My mind, in terms of where I'm at now, it's a lot better than it was years ago. I wouldn't say I'm 100%, but I'm past 80, to be honest. You know what I'm saying? So it's just come from realizing, like, when I feel lazy, who's gonna do it for you? You say you're old, you're independent, you're the man here, right? Do your thing, you know? You also have aspirations and goals that you need to write down. You need to see how you're going to actively plan to get there. So like you kind of have to put yourself in a point where you become your own project manager. And you're like, okay, so you said you want to do 1, 2, 3, 4. What have you done so far? You know, what steps have you taken to get there? And another thing that happens when you're depressed is you really become a victim for everything. Oh, like, they don't want to do this for me. It's them, you know. You always want to say it's them, so you stop that it's them, and you remember there's 3 other fingers pointing here, you know. You are still responsible for you, regardless of how old you are. Well, let me say after 18, basically, you know. As much as I was not getting the support I felt I needed at the time, I could have gone to look for it myself, You know, I could have said to someone and kept on keeping on looking until I find it. But then I just sat in my corner and I was like,
You enjoyed the pity party.
you know, it literally becomes that. And then, but once you train your mind and you build it up, you kind of step forward. Same thing with your soul. You need to feed your soul.
Right.
You need to feed it the right thing.
Right.
And for me, the right thing is God. Like, that's it. Like, it even goes as deep as what you listen to. You know, like, now I start my mornings with gospel religiously. It's not about what other people feel, who told me. No one told me that. But I realized when I wake up in the morning and I listen to gospel and I praise and worship, that's my time with God. Other people prefer praying, maybe sitting and doing a devotion, you know, but for me it's that praise, what happens in that song, you know, what it gives from my heart, you know, and that lifts me already. Then after that has lifted me and I've done that repeatedly, you kind of now have mind and soul in line. The body has to follow, naturally so, you know. So it's one of those things that you can sit and cry about it all you want, but if you don't start by yourself, how are the other people gonna say, okay, he was actually being serious? Because now that he's gotten that support that he wanted, he's moving forward. You know, meaning, obviously in depression, you're going to ruin relationships. You're going to step all over them. And the most embarrassing thing is that you have to come back. And say, I'm sorry. Then they say, sorry for what? Sorry for what? You know, because you
say sorry for what?
like you hurt so many people in what you're doing, you know. And I think for me, it's like a thing of when you go back there, you need to be humble. Like, you just need to say sorry.
Eat your humble pie.
And you just take it, because it's like you've been detached for so long, but you've been around us. You know. And to some extent, you need to also acknowledge that and see how you can work out of it. But for some people, it kind of doesn't move forward in that regard, because they can't go and sit down and say, I was wrong.
Right. I love how you mentioned that you need to be humble and go have those conversations. So for anybody who's holding back because they're like, I can't humiliate myself like that, or I can't put myself in that situation. No. That's actually that's the depressed mind speaking. I would say. Because why? It doesn't want you to move forward. You know, you were feeding that thing, and it was getting bigger and bigger, fatter and fatter, and it was gonna outgrow you, and it outgrowing you is you taking yourself out.
Literally.
That is the point for the depressed mind. But the opposite is really to start building. And these humility or humble conversations, you just do one. You start with one person. Realize what you've done, realize which relationship you've ruined, and pick one person from them, like, I'm gonna start there, and I'm gonna have an open and honest conversation with them. You have to do that conversation once with them. It's not every day. Remember, you have spent so long ruining it. And I'm saying so long is because every day that went on and on without you trying to fix anything. That's how long it's been. But fixing it, it's one conversation.
It's literally one.
We don't have to keep coming back. So yesterday you were saying what you were sorry, okay, tell me that again. No sensible person would want to put you there. When you come and you say, I'm sorry, and we can in that moment immediately resonate and listen to, oh wow, look at the breakthrough that's going on now. You know, that's what it becomes.
Literally.
And then we win the support now. Like, okay, no, he started the work. Oh my goodness. All right, sure. Now we're getting somewhere. You know. So I'm saying for those who must still have the conversations, you're gonna have it once. You're gonna have it once.
Literally.
With this person, and then you move to the next one and the next one, and then before you know it, you have the support back.
True.
And people now will learn that you are a growing person.
Yeah.
You are this new person that you have welcomed yourself, right? Can I just go back to where you you had psyched yourself to go out and do interviews and what and what? When we were talking about that, you gave me this picture of how celebrities do that too.
Yeah.
How we get to know them. We know them as these people who, wow, like I want to be that guy. I want to be. Oh my goodness, I never want to hide and what. I just want to be like that person. And then months later, this person have committed suicide.
Yes.
Only then we go and like, what?
That's why.
Oh my goodness, what? So I see, like, you're helping me open up to seeing how, wow, they were in that state as well, where the sadness would be left at home.
Yeah.
And then I go do stuff because I'm supposed to do stuff most. I'm doing my bit here. But yeah, it's crazy that the sadness would be at home.
Yeah.
Does that then mean somehow you're doing this? Like, I'm also getting this picture here, Prana stove. You know what a Prana stove is? A paraffin stove.
Yes.
I don't know how they work now, but long ago you put paraffin in it and then you like pump it up, and it had a liver thingy that, and then as you do that, then the fire would catch, right? So when you say you would go out and do that, I'm getting this picture that you would pump yourself up.
Literally.
Okay, remember, I promised myself that I'm gonna do this. This is me doing self-work. Come on. Okay, so I'm going. But your subconscious is like, you're still not real with me.
Exactly.
But this is what I'm gonna do for you. I'm gonna wait here, okay?
Yeah.
You go.
Exactly.
I'll be right here.
It's almost a distraction, if we're being honest. Literally.
Right. Yes.
Because you go and you do what you're doing, right? And that part of your mind is no longer engaged because now you're interacting with people, you're speaking to them, you're having chats, maybe you go and have coffee, and you find yourself in a position where after all that noise, you're back to the silence.
Yeah.
Where it's just you and your problems.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And I think I can go as far as to say, like, there's points at which you just don't want to be alone, because that's where your mind's going to go.
So when you say there's points when you don't want to be alone, is it like a thing, or is it possible to can say we don't know how to be alone, or we're even afraid to be alone?
I'd say it's almost like it's a fear to a point, right? Let me explain what I mean. So I wouldn't mind being alone at home in my room,
right?
But there's times in that time where even I'm scared of what I'm thinking of. You know what I mean? And I want to go and sit with someone, but it's 3 a.m. What am I going to do? I have to call someone. Like, hey, dude, like, yo, how are you doing? At 3 a.m. How are you doing? Tell me about your life. And now you're conversating till the sun comes up, right? And the day now begins for everyone else who was not on the phone with you, right? And now you want to go and sleep.
You're tired.
Right? So you kind of also now come out of your sync with people because you're always doing something else. So you kind of go deeper down that hole. So it got to a point where I was also now, I'd sleep during the day, stay up at night.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Vampire issues here.
Literally. So you kind of do that cycle of you come out of sync with people, then there's no one to speak to, and then now you're alone a lot. And if that continues, and then you literally get to a point where you're like, ish, the kitchen's just around the corner, there's knives in there.
Sure.
So you
just pour it.
Literally. So now it gets to there. Then you're like, okay, this is kind of serious.
Right.
So I remember the first time I told my parents this. My dad didn't believe me.
Okay.
My mom did. But like, I don't blame him for it, because also it might just look like I'm seeking attention because of the situations we were in at the same time. So it could have been hard to separate, right? So in that time, now I've found another reason to now also be more sad. It's because you don't care. You know, so it builds on in that situation, and now your relationship with this person is also damaged because you feel like they don't care.
Sure.
The other one cares, but like is limited to a point because these are your parents, they're together, right? And they can't fight over you. You know what I'm saying? So it complicates everything when it's now family based, especially because if you're a firstborn who's going through depression, what are the rest supposed to learn from you?
Because they are looking up to you.
Literally.
Yeah.
This guy sleeps the whole day.
Yeah.
He's up at night when we're sleeping. You wanna play soccer? You don't wanna play. Okay. Can we play Xbox? You don't wanna play. Okay. You know, so you just become the villain in people's stories, and then you feel guilty on top of the depression. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Then you eventually get to a point where you're like, these people would be happy if I was not here. You know?
Wow.
And the deep part is like your mind will justify everything. Yeah, because really it's not like you're doing anything. Like you'd even my guy.
You can't even go play soccer with
there'll
the
be an
child.
extra room, nochal.
Sure.
You know? And to you when it's all happening in your head, it's like
it makes sense.
Like I hear you. I hear you. I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
But then the moment you get to thinking of doing it now, like the other side of you is like, hey mate, do you know what's happening once you do that? Like you understand. And I think for me, that was the God in me. You get me? Because I'd totally go down the train till I get there. Then it's like, but are you sure this is all it is? Like this is where you want your life to end?
Yeah.
You're sure there's nothing
like
else?
This.
Like you're just gonna die in your room. Like that's it?
Yeah.
You're not gonna do something else. And I think the deep part is I had a friend who committed suicide. Right. We were chilling with him on a Saturday, the week before he committed suicide, and he was fine. He was happy. We were having chats, you know. He was like, "No, guys, next week, you know, you can do this at my house now. You know, don't stress. I'll see you guys next week." We leave Wednesday. We get a call. Like, no, it's a wrap.
Sure.
It's over. Like it's done. He's not here with us anymore. And then to process that and kind of live through the same thing, it's very deep because then it makes sense. Like he would disappear for times.
Okay.
Can't find him. You say let's go out. He doesn't want to go out. You know, we'd have a group chat. Doesn't say anything. You know, so when you look back after it's already too late, you get to see the patterns. Right. And I think it's important to identify the patterns in all kinds of people. Like once a person stops doing stuff they like, be wary because it doesn't take long to get to the other side. You know, especially I think as guys, we tend to not speak a lot. And I think that's something that I've kind of changed with my friends that are guys, especially because ladies talk, like girls speak to each other, you know. And growing up, I think I've always had more friends that were girls than guys for whatever reason. But
must be the good looks. That's the reason.
Thank you. But like it's also a thing of I think I've always been more emotional than the next guy, you know. And in that it would be a thing of like certain things just don't matter to guys. Like your home life, what's going on, how you feel about most things. You know, if it's not like soccer or whatever. Because as guys, we're typically that. Like, we soccer, cars, you know.
Sure.
Let's go party. If you're not you are one of the three, you know. Sometimes you're two of the three. Sometimes you're just one, you know. And I think amongst my group of friends, the deep part was we would do all of that, but we would not get to the deep stuff, you know. And the deep stuff would only come out like 3 in the morning, we've been out, you know, it's just you and the other one awake.
Yeah.
And then you just randomly discover these things about each other, you know, like you're just talking. And that's that once in a while, but you don't pick it up the next day because now you're all sober.
Yeah.
You're like, where did we start that conversation? You know?
Yeah.
So.
And that's how we hide.
Literally.
That's how we hide.
Literally.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
for me, I think finding that comfort had to come from understanding that I need to speak to someone who's not my age, firstly. Someone who's older, like a lot older, someone who's lived a bit, you know. It just happens that you're also like in the mental health space, which helped a lot. And then also just understanding that you get to see it from the parent side too. Because a lot of psychologists don't give you that side. Like the ones I've seen, even the pastor I spoke to, like they never put it flat for me, you know, like this is what you see, and yes, you're valid to feel those things, but understand on the other side, they also feel a way about certain things. They also want you to take accountability for your side. And literally, the moment you understand there's a duality to it, then you also begin to see that, okay, maybe I was wrong there, because since I was in my room all the time, we couldn't build a relationship, and then I can't tell you, you know, and those subtle realizations bring you to the next point, which is, okay, get out your room a bit, sit and genuinely have a conversation, you know, and then you do that, and then, you know, you then, even if you end up moving out of home, like for me, my recovery was outside of home, right? So to say that I'm completely done, I'd say I'm almost there, but there's always those issues that are like kind of, you feel are bigger than you at some point. And I think going back into a space that you literally know you kind of picked these things up in or experience them mostly in is difficult, because it's like, let's say they blow up this house, right? And you are in it, then you must rebuild and come and live here again. You know what I mean? Like in the back of your mind, you are screaming, I don't want to be there, because it feels like that there. And to explain that to someone else and say, I don't want to be around you because I feel like this when I'm here, is difficult, because then it's like, oh, so we're not good enough for you, or you don't like home anymore, you know. And it's like, it has nothing to do with that. It's just, I'm happy outside of that space, you know. So it's one of those uphill battles, but you need to kind of walk up there slowly, the way we started.
Don't run up there.
Exactly. Yeah. Because when you run, then what if you fall, you know?
Yeah, sure. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's interesting.
It is. I must say, you draw, for me, and I hope for many people out there, you draw a picture that one must just sit and look at it clearly and find, is there somebody I need to be supporting? Am I the person in this? Like some sort of identifying yourself in this is important, so that one can know what to do with this now, you know. But yeah, I'm glad you are over 80%.
Yeah.
You know, I think the biggest thing for me that I take away is you have to learn to work with your brain.
True.
You have to tune your brain. You have to actively want to do it. It cannot just be running the show.
No.
Right? Again, when you realize that you are 3 in 1, you are mind, body, and soul. Identify these 3 elements in you. Who's doing what? If it means you must really study on this, study on it, because then you get to learn how to be a whole, right? And work with the whole.
Literally.
Awesome. I love over 80%. It's a lot. It's getting, it is absolutely right.
Literally.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing, man.
No, anytime.
Wow, what a story. Please do comment, like, and share. And I'm sure we will get another chance to talk to somebody else and hear their experience with this part of their lives and how they've survived it. But please, it's never okay to to go into the other room and
Yeah.
get something to end all of this. That
Yeah.
can't be the truth, and that can't be how the story ends.
Yeah, no, it can't.
Lady Mpho, I love you always. See you next time. Thank you, Jay.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you.